During the Jurassic Age, the Old Ones met fresh adversity in the form of a new invasion from outer space. This time by half fungus, half crustacean creatures from a planet identifiable as the remote and recently discovered Pluto. Creatures undoubtedly the same as those figuring in certain whispered hill legends of the north and remembered in the Himalayas as the Mygo, or abominable snowmen. To fight these beings, the Old Ones attempted, for the first time since their terrain advent, to sally forth again into the planetary ether. But despite all traditional preparations, found it no longer possible to leave the Earth's atmosphere. Whatever the old secret of interstellar travel had been, it was now definitely lost to the race. In the end, then, Mygo drove the Old Ones out of the northern lands, though they were powerless to disturb those in the sea. Little by little, the slow retreat of the elder race to their original Antarctic habitat was beginning. It was curious to note that the pictured battles from both the Cthulhu spawn and the Mygo seem to have been composed of matter widely different than from that which we know than was the substance of the Old Ones. They were able to undergo transformations and reintegrations impossible for their adversaries, but seemed therefore to have originally come from even remoter gulfs of cosmic space. The Old Ones, but for their abnormal toughness and peculiar vital properties, were strictly material and must have had their absolute origin within the known as space-time continuum, whereas the first sources of other beings can only be guessed at with bated breath. All this, of course, assuming that the non-terrestrial linkages and anomalies ascribed to the invading foes are not pure mythology. Conceivably, the Old Ones might have invented a cosmic framework to account for their occasional defeats. Since historical interest and pride obviously have formed their chief psychological element, it is significant that their annals fail to mention many advanced and potent races of beings whose mighty cultures and towering cities figure persistently in certain obscure legends. The changing state of the world through long geologic ages appeared with startling vividness in many of the sculptured maps and scenes. In certain cases, existing science will require revision, while in others, its bold deductions are magnificently confirmed. As I've said, the hypothesis of Taylor, Wegener, and Jolly that all the continents are fragments of an original Antarctic landmass which cracked from centrifugal force and drifted apart over a technically vicious lower surface, an hypothesis suggested by such things as the complementary outline of Africa and South America, and the way the great mountains chains are rolled and shoved up, receives striking support from this uncanny source. Maps evidently showing the Carboniferous world of 100 million or more years ago displayed significant rifts and chasms designed to later to separate Africa from the once continuous realm of Europe, then the Volusia of hellish primal legend, Asia, the Americas, and the Antarctic continent. Other charts, and more significantly one in connection with the founding 50 million years ago of the vast dead city around us, showed all the present continents well differentiated, and the latest discoverable specimen, dating perhaps from the Pliocene age, an approximate world of today appeared quite clearly despite the linkage of Alaska with Siberia of North America, with Europe through Greenland, and of South America with the Antarctic continent through Gramland. In the Carboniferous map, the whole globe, ocean floor and rift and landmass alike, bore symbols of the Old Ones' vast stone cities, but in the later charts, the gradual recession toward the Antarctic became very plain. The final Pliocene specimen showed no land cities except on the Antarctic continent and the tip of South America, nor any ocean cities north of the 50 parallel south latitude. Knowledge and self-interest of the northern world, save for a study of coastlines probably made during long exploration flights on those fan-like membranous wings, had evidently declined to zero among the old ones. Destruction of cities through the upthrust of mountains, the centrifugal rendering of continents, the seismic convulsions of land or of sea bottom, or other natural causes was a matter of common record. And it was curious to observe how fewer and fewer replacements were made as the ages wore on. The vast dead megalopolis that yawned around us seemed to be the last general center of the race, built early in the Cretaceous age after titanic earth buckling had obliterated a still vaster predecessor not far distant. It appeared that this general region was the most secret spot of all, where reputedly the first old ones had settled on a primal sea bottom. In New City, many of the features we could recognize in the sculptures, which stretched fully in 100 miles along the mountain range in each direction beyond the farthest limits of our aerial survey, they were reputed to be preserved certain sacred stones forming part of this first sea bottom city, which were thrust up to light after long epochs in the course of the general crumbling of strata.